Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing. All right, guys. Welcome. Let's see. All right, yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about why women ghost you after showing high interest. So I do these YouTube lives every Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation by hitting the like, subscribe, sending this to your friends. And if you guys want to further support me, everything is in the description down below. So all the links are there. Right. So and I have a feeling that today might be a little bit of a shorter live, so it's not going to be like my hour lives, assuming maybe even 30 minutes. We'll see. But anyways, all right, so I want to start out with a recap episode, and the recap episode is hot and cold behaviors in women. And I did this episode in November 9th of last year, 2024. So if you guys want to go check that out, it's right there. And the slide recap episode that I'm going to be talking about today is that your perception isn't her perception. So, you know, a lot of guys out there, they kind of project how they feel towards a woman just because they feel like they went on a good date, or he felt like it was a good date. And, you know, a lot of guys like to project, right? So maybe you went on a few dates. Maybe you went on, after those few days, you guys might have even hooked up. And she's all over you, and when you're with her, but when you're not with her, she's kind of distant, but still kind of checks out your stories. Maybe she kind of social media stalks you a little bit. Bottom line is, you can't let that bother you too much. The most important thing is that unless she sends you a direct message, and I'm not talking about leaving a comment, right? Unless she sends you a direct message, you can't look anything further to that, right? Even if she's looking at your story. Looking at your story doesn't mean anything. Like I said, it has to be a direct contact, okay? Whether it's through text, her sending you a direct message on social media, whatever it is, it has to be a direct message from her. And that is the beginning of the first contact initiation. So anyways, you got to go on, move on, and continue to do what you've always been doing. And the mindset is like, well, the mindset is, how would you act if you were tired of being around her? That's the idea, right? How would you act if you were tired of being around her? And how would you act if you were too busy focusing on the things that you need to do? Now, the idea behind this isn't to pretend that you're so busy that you don't have time for her. You know, obviously you don't want to drop everything and send her that message, but you also don't want to be playing games. What's up, Jose? How's it going? You don't want to be out here playing games so that you're acting like you're busy, because the reality is, if you're not busy, then you probably need to be finding something out that you need to do for yourself. So Rocco, how's it going? Appreciate the likes. Thank you. So you must go with the attitude of, I like to see if this person has similar goals and similar values with me. So is she easygoing? Is she easy to get along with, or she's gonna make my life difficult? So that's a big predictor on whether or not the relationship is gonna last too. Is if that person is gonna make your life more miserable, she's not easygoing, and she's not easy to get along with, man, it gets difficult. So Rocky, how's your day going, man? I'm doing well, man. How about yourself? So most people could hide themselves of who they are for the first 90 days. So there's still a vetting process that needs to take place whenever you're on this date with her. Maybe you guys, even if you do everything right as a man, it usually takes somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks for her to fall in love with you. About 6 to 8 weeks, all right? Maybe a little bit longer, you know, like nothing is set in stone, but women take time for her to fall in love. Unlike a guy could look at a woman and be like, oh my gosh, she's pretty, she's fine, she got a nice body, whatever it is that you're attracted to, and you're like, damn, I'm in love with her. Like, you would dismiss all her behaviors just because she's fine. Like, and that's That's not a high quality guy. That's not a high value man, especially if he's so easily tempted by his own desires. And that's why it is so important to have this vetting process. And it takes about 90 days, and people can hide themselves for who they are, right? And a woman that likes you, you have to understand that a woman that likes you will want more of your attention. My plan today is to do this live and help you guys out. So if you guys are interested in learning and understanding why women do the things that they do, you're in the right spot. So Crystal. All right, so if she likes you, she will want your attention. She will want more of your attention. And there's nothing that you could do to stop her from wanting more of your attention, especially if she likes you. And woman who wants you will be a lot more aggressive. And that's a much better position than a guy that's always constantly trying to chase her, trying to get her attention, aka what my coach has taught me, what my coach has said, the illusion of action. Like, oh, she's not contacting me. I need to do something in order to get her. I need to do something in order to elicit some sort of response from her. You know, it's like, no. Most of the time, it sounds counterintuitive, but you just got to sit back and let her come to you. It's kind of like a cat. You just gotta appreciate it, Rocco. Thank you. Yeah, women are like cats. You can't be upset if you pick them up and you put them on your lap and they run away. Like, you just can't be bothered by that. It's like getting upset at a weather that, you know, like, oh, I planned this day out and now it's raining. It's like getting upset at the weather. There's nothing that you could do about that. Right? So control your controllables. That's what I'm saying, guys. And you have to also understand that you have to move slightly slower than she does. And the reason why I say that is because whenever you move slightly slower and she's opening doors for you to walk through, all you have to do is walk through those doors. You don't ever have to worry about being shut down if it's her idea. And so that is why it is very important to make sure that you go slightly slower than she does. And like I said, if she likes you a little bit more, she's going to be a little bit more aggressive. She's going to want your attention more. Okay. And you know, you could get a group of women. I'm talking about, let's just say you put 100 women in a room and you ask them this one question. I appreciate it. Thank you. And you ask them this question of, you know, what should a relationship be like? What's the percentage? And they say 50-50, right? And anytime that happens, when it's 50-50, y'all are eventually going to end up in a platonic relationship. Because, and then now what a woman says and what she does are two different things, and how she feels about it is totally different. So that is why, as a man, you shouldn't be pursuing more than 20 to 30%. Anytime a man does more, and I've heard so many stories like, oh, how come you don't do this? How come you don't do that? Like, you don't contact me anymore, and you know, this and that. You're at a good place, but it doesn't mean that you play games and you try to avoid her so that you don't give her any of your attention. It's like, well, you give her a little bit more. You give her a little bit more attention. It doesn't mean that you over pursue, because when you over pursue, it feels like you're doing her job. And when that does happen, eventually you're gonna start losing her. You guys will be platonic friends. Eventually she's gonna say something like, you know, something doesn't feel right. I don't feel the same anymore. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's me. Yada, yada, yada. Like, you hear a bunch of excuses. Bottom line is, what she's saying is, I need to get away from you. So I'm sorry to hear about that. You have to move slightly slower than she does. And if your goal is to see if she's the right, it's like your goal as a man is to see if she is the right match, if that she's the right person who deserves your time. Why? Because you're a quality guy. You're a quality guy that's worked on himself. You worked on your emotional intelligence, right? You're emotionally more regulated. You're more emotionally grounded. You understand what it takes to, you understand women, basically. And men who understands women are loved by women. She just needs to understand that you're her one. that she's your number one. All right. So you're looking for someone that's ready, someone that's willing, and someone that's able, because those are very, very important key factors for a successful relationship. All right. Now, anyways, let's move on to the meat of the topic, which is my first slide. And the first slide is going to be why. Why do women suddenly lose interest in men they once liked or had high interest? And why do they choose to ghost? Now, I'm pretty sure you guys have a million reasons, and your reasoning probably it's probably right. But let's get down to the nitty gritty and understand why. So the first one is, and in no particular order, is that it's easier. It is easier for a woman to just ghost a guy. She doesn't have to worry about confrontation. She doesn't have to worry about hurting your feelings. And the reason why is because she probably had men in her life that acted very neurotic, which is a personality trait that's usually associated with negative emotions. So it could be anxiety, it could be worry, fear, anger, frustration, jealousy, envy, pessimism. And the last thing a woman want is a guy that won't leave her alone or being too possessive. And it's it turns her off immediately. So it's if ghosting you is a whole lot easier, why wouldn't I do that? It's because she's been around guys in her life, especially if she's an attractive woman. She's going to have guys constantly bombarding her messages, all you have to do is just stand out from the rest of those guys. Now, another reason could be that you acted too interested too soon. You're too invested too soon, which gives her this idea that you might be kind of clingy, you might be needy. And you have to understand that woman wants a man that she feels like she deserves. So if the moment she texts him or she's be like, oh yeah, can you come over and help me out with this, and you drop everything that you're doing so that you could be helping her, unless it's an emergency, it's woman doesn't want you to be her world. She wants you to have a purpose. She wants you to have a goal, a mission. Why? Because that's leadership. And the word lead means to go first. So if you can't lead the relationship, if you're not a good leader and you can't demonstrate leadership and confidence and competence, she's not going to want to be around you. And it's very, very unattractive. And there's more people out there that's like that than there are competent and confident men. And so how do you stand out? While being humble. Because if you're not humble, you will be humbled eventually. So it's finding that balance between that. Okay. So like I said, you acted too needy too soon. You lack motivation. You lacked ambition. Or it shows, or you're demonstrating that you don't really have much going on in your life besides her. It's damn, she needs a leader in her life, right? Women want a man that displays confidence and interest. So in the beginning of the pursuit, let's just say you saw her down the street, or maybe you saw her at a coffee shop, at a bookstore, whatever it may be, that she wants to see that you're confident enough to approach her and talk to her, get her number, maybe set up a date, right? And then meet her out. Your goal as a guy is to do that in the beginning. Because the number one most attractive characteristic or masculine characteristic from a guy to a woman is confidence. So if you could display that by going up to her, risking getting rejected, she's going to be more interested. And even if she's not interested, guess what? There's still that respect factor. Not only for her, but for yourself mainly. Because you went up. You risked getting rejected. And whereas, let's just say you might be even with your group of guy friends or whatever, you still did it. Of all the guys, you're the one that did it. Most people would be like, damn, look at him, he got rejected. You did it. All right. Bottom line is you took the action, whether or not that was in your favor. The most important thing is that you did it. So it displays confidence. Okay. And there's a really fine line between too much interest and not showing enough interest. So you might have conveyed too much interest before she's ready, and showing too much effort before she's ready reduces her desires for you. And so the question is, it's like, well, what does before she's ready mean? You might be scratching your head. You're like, what does it mean? What does before she's ready mean? Well, it means that before her interest and her attraction level goes up for you, she will need to be more invested in you in order to feel something for you. So what does that mean? It means that she needs to think about you. She needs to wonder about you. Women need time and space to think about you, to wonder about you, so that she could develop this idea. Women loves a love story. So if they could play this idea in her head, like, oh my God, what is he like? What is he doing? How come he's not doing this? It remains a little bit of a mystery in her mind. And then on top of that, when she does reach out to you, you're not rude about it. You just assume that she wants to see you. You set up a date and you have a good time. Everybody wants a good time. Everybody loves to have a good time. So if you could display that, she's going to have those same feelings and relate having a good time with you. And the more she's with you and having a good time, well, guess what? Eventually, more doors will open, right? So you guys have to remember that it's feminine energy to emotionally bond with you. It is not your job as a guy to worry about relationships, to see where you're at in a relationship. Like, the most pathetic thing that a guy could do, and I think every guy's has done it before, is like, well, you kind of ask that question of like, oh, do you still care? Where do you still love me? Or it's like needing to know where you stand with her so that your feelings could get justified. It's like, that is not what a leader does. And we all have done that. And this is a place to learn, so that you don't do those same mistakes over and over, right? And she will answer your question. She'll be like, yeah, of course I do. It's like, it's not attractive. Okay. It's not attractive. Like I said, it's feminine energy to bond, to connect, to focus on relationships, focusing on relationship labels. Just think about it like this. If you're a guy and you're focused on your mission and purpose, and you like her, you love her company, you guys have good chemistry, you both have similar goals and similar values, excuse me, and everything that you do, she makes you a better person. It's like, and you make her feel good being around. Why wouldn't she want to be with you? Why wouldn't she want to be with you? There's not a lot of good guys out there like that. So that's why I'm saying, all right? So women all want a man, and you also have to understand this too. Women all want a man that is desirable to other women, but she just needs to know that she is your number one. Unless you're in like this polyamorous kind of type of relationship, that's different, all right? But she needs to know. She needs to know that, like, damn, I got a catch. Okay? Now, slide number two is how to prevent it, okay? So in the beginning, I was talking about why. Why do women do certain things, and why do they ghost you? Because it's easier, right? Next, I'm going to talk about how to prevent it. Now, there's no 100% foolproof way of preventing someone from ghosting you. There's nothing that you can do if they do it. But here's ways of how to prevent it, which is, number one, I know it sounds easy. You have to act in ways that is more attractive. You have to act more attractive, which means that your behavior as a man needs to trigger some sort of emotional response from her. It has to trigger an emotional response, okay? And because if you understand this concept, because if being unattractive, right? If you're being unattractive, you're saying things that kind of like lacks confidence, right? You're saying things that kind of turns her off. Her losing interest, and she's going to lose interest towards you. And not doing enough means that you kind of staying stagnant, because maybe you're afraid of pursuing too much, or you're like, damn, if I do this, I might lose her, right? Playing it too safe, right, will cause her to like eventually her feelings will slowly diminish. So you either, if you say things that's unattractive, it's gonna go down. If you do things too safe, you're not gonna succeed. There's a barrier, there's this threshold that you just have to go past. And that's where most guys, they feel like, damn, I don't want to say this because I don't want to lose her. Lose her for what? Like lose her as a friend? It's like, well, let's be real. Let me talk to you, right? One-on-one with a guy, right? Like, what are you gonna lose if you tell her basically like, hey, you know, I'm interested in you, I want to get to know you, and I'm not here to want to just be your friend. And if you want to be friends, that's cool, but that's not what I want. So you got to be honest with what you want as a guy, and you have to convey that. You have to let her know that. You don't have to be rude about it. You just got to be like, well, you don't feel the same, that's totally fine, you can walk away. And it shows value. It shows that you value yourself and that you're not willing to waste her time, nor do you want to waste yours, because you don't want to be 5 years into this quote unquote friendship and then all of a sudden it's like, look, I've always liked her. Like, that's pathetic. Don't waste your time, right? So like I said, you have to act in ways that's more attractive, which means that your behavior as a man has to trigger an emotional response. Okay, so then now if acting unattractive will lower her interest very fast, and not doing enough, aka playing it too safe, will eventually have her lose interest towards you. Your only option of getting her attention is to increase her curiosity. What's up, Jordan? Yeah, your only option of getting her attention is to increase her curiosity and attentiveness towards you. That's it. This means that you have to work on building your value as a man. You have to work on building your value. To prevent her from losing interest, you have to understand the principles of what that attracts women. And like I said before, the number one most attractive characteristic in a man to a woman is confidence. So if you could display a lot of confidence, she's gonna be like, damn, this guy, he's confident in his thing. I like who he is. I like how he acts. He's a funny person. He makes me, quote unquote, feel a certain way. She's gonna feel something towards you, especially if she could laugh and have a good time with you. All right. Now, by sticking to things like once a week, here's an example. Okay, let's just say you just met her. You're sticking to seeing her about once a week, unless she's the one that reaches out. Then you allow her feelings to kind of develop and her to come to you. That way, number one, you don't over pursue. It's her choice and it's her idea. All you have to do, the doors are opening. All you have to do is just walk through those doors and not talk yourself out of her liking you. And so, like I said, when she reaches out, assume she wants to see you and you set up another date. Your goal as a man is to slowly allow her to come to you at her pace. Remember, women fall in love a lot slower than men do. Okay, a man could look at a woman and be like, damn, I'm in love. Okay, that's just how it is. You just got to move slightly slower. Okay, then basically you want to have it go slow, and then little by little, closer and closer, till you guys basically end up in the same bed together. Now, like I said, there's no such thing as like 100% foolproof that nothing, like she won't ghost you. Like, it's never 100%. There's too many factors. There's too many things that could be going wrong or going into her life right now. You don't know where she's at. You don't know whether she's emotionally stable, right? There's so many factors. But what you can do is just assume that, hey, if she's around me, she's gonna have a great time. She's gonna enjoy her time. And on top of that, she's gonna feel safe while having a good time with you. So your job as a man is to do more attractive things than not. So the chances of her wanting to walk away from you lowers, okay? So which means that you have to understand the basics of what is attractive and how to become an interesting man. Okay, and that's, in a different episode, because I will be talking for hours. You know what? This might go past a little bit, over 30 minutes. But anyways, slide number 3 is that things that you could control. Okay, so in the beginning, I said why does she do it when initially she was showing high attraction, and then how to prevent it. Now I want to talk about the things that you can control. And then for my last slide, I'm going to be talking about things that's outside of your control. Okay. I want to talk about things that you could control first, because this is the quickest way. The quickest way to get anybody else to change is to change yourself. Is to change yourself and not try to convince them that you're a different person. Because that's another pathetic thing. It's like, oh, I'm a changed man now. Like, I've changed. It's like, you can't say you changed. She needs to see the change. And in order for her to see the change, you need to apply action. Because people say things. A lot of people say a lot of things that they don't mean, and they're incongruent. And so she needs to see it through action. So even if this is one of your exes, it doesn't matter. It's like, and you want her back, like, she would still, like, people need to see a change in you, so that if he or she decides to ever come back, you're a different person. You're not gonna do the same thing that got that person to leave you in the first place. So things that you can control. Number one is how you act. How do you act? How you are, maybe you're pursuing too much. You're over pursuing, showing too much interest too soon. Like I said, maybe you're too pushy. You're a little bit too clingy. You're a little bit needy, right? Or she might have been very interested, but then you also show too little interest. You show too little interest, and maybe you listen to like one of these online coaches online that, they tell you to, don't give her any of your time. Remain busy and focus on yourself, King. It's like, I get it to some degree, but you don't want to be rude. And this is my thing. If you send someone a message and they take more than 24 hours to respond to you, unless something major happened, most people are especially a woman, she's going to be on her phone. If she's on her phone and 24 hours have gone by and she hasn't said anything, like, to me, that's rude, but she doesn't owe you anything. She doesn't owe you anything. And so if you send her a message and she doesn't respond, give it time. Okay. If this is your first time you send her a response and she doesn't say anything for 24 hours or even longer, maybe you could reach back out one more time. That's it. And if you reach out one more time, like the second time, and she doesn't say anything back, that's it. Your pursuit is over forever. That's it. It ends right there. You delete that number. You no longer need it, because she's not interested, and you just got to accept the fact. Okay. So showing too little interest. Okay. You might be like that guy that, like, oh yeah, I gotta pretend I'm busy. I gotta pretend this, right? So now the other question is, it's like, well, if pursuing too much shows that I'm clingy, and pursuing too little shows that I'm like acting like a cold fish, the idea is to find that sweet spot that's right in the middle, where it feels kind of natural, it feels effortless. And so how do you do that? Well, number one is that, and I've learned this before, that your words and action must be congruent, meaning that the words you say that comes out of your mouth as a man, it's binding. And the more you keep it within what you say and what you do, the more she could trust you. Okay. Now, like I said, no one's perfect, but especially for like the more important things, if you say you're going to do something, you make sure you do it. That's it. Right. And when you're doing that consistently enough, she could trust you. She could trust that, damn, what he says, he means. If he says it, he will do it. I could trust him. The last thing you ever want is a person that says one thing and then all of a sudden, like, last minute change their mind, right? Like, you don't want a person like that. So, like I said, default by going out once a week, okay? Unless she reaches out. And basically, the main idea of that is, like, you're trying to gauge her level of interest. You're looking for someone who's excited to see you, that's willing to jump fences to see you, not kind of stay on the fence. So that's the whole idea. And these are things that you could control. It's like, well, if I'm going out on a date with her, and this is their first date, and to me it went well, but I don't know how she feels, and she's not really reaching back out, I'm out for once a week. I'll see her once a week. So if you went out on a date on a Wednesday, wait a few days before you contact her. Wait a few days. It's okay. Like, give her some time. Let it marinate. Let her think about you. Let her wonder about you. And if she likes it, if she likes a date, she's gonna be like, well, how come he's not reaching back out? And by default, you could just reach back out. So on a Wednesday, you could reach back out on like a Sunday or something to set up a date for next week. Keep it once a week. It's fine. You're a busy man anyways. Okay. So once a week. Let's see what else. You want someone that's excited to see you, not stay on the fence. And men should never pursue more than 20 to 30% of the contact initiation in a relationship. Now, you'll hear a lot of guys talk about increasing your sexual market value, and that's important. It means that, well, number one, you got to work on yourself. You got to work on yourself physically. You got to be in shape. You don't have to be Mr. Olympia, but you got to be in shape relatively. You need to show some sort of healthiness from your body, right? You also need to make sure she needs to know that if she ever needs to opt out of being around you, that she's gonna feel safe. She needs to know that if she wants to back away, that you be like, that's cool. That's fine. If you're unilaterally deciding to not want to see me again, that's fine. I'm not gonna make you stay. Like, that's fine. You can do whatever you like. But I do, and then you want the attitude of like, I hope you find someone better. I really do. I really hope you find someone better. And like I said, if you continue to work on yourself, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, you constantly working on yourself, and you're this not just a charming guy, but you're a guy that stands well what you say. You're congruent. You operate life through what you say and what you mean. You have integrity, right? You have morals. It's a very rare thing to have nowadays, especially in this whole dating market. It's not a lot of good men out there. So it's like, work on this area of your life is not easy, but I could guarantee you that you're going to be one of the most irresistible guys that you will ever meet. All right. Now, like I said, luckily for men, we're more desired based off how we communicate, how we act, how we say things, our demeanor, right? And these are things that you could work on. And so what does that tell you? It tells you that there's hope. It tells you that there's hope, that there's certain things that you could work on, because, when I was growing up, I didn't really have this true masculine figure to really help me out. I didn't know what it was. So I acted very needy, neurotic. And it's like, if I didn't get things my way, I get emotionally stirred up, very unattractive. And it's like, as I was learning this, little light bulbs start, popping up in my head. And I'm like, damn, I acted like a bitch. And guess what? If you act like a bitch, she's going to treat you like a bitch. So women don't care how good of a guy you are. She only cares how she feels about you. So if you act more interesting, you act more attractive, she's going to want you more. Okay. And if you do, the other side of the coin, you're going to turn her off. And which position would you rather be in, right? So now, one of the quickest way to display confidence, and these are things that you can do, one of the quickest way to display more confidence is through humor, because humor shows who you are, and it's usually through your most authentic self. If you're fine making fun of yourself, you're having a good time, she can relate having that good time with you. And everybody loves a good time. Everybody loves a good time. And if you can show that you can have a good time with her, she's going to relate those good time with you. Let's see. It doesn't matter how good of a guy you are, how nice of a guy you are. All she cares about is how you make her feel. Okay. And you have to understand that. Here, guys, little quick pro tip. What she says then does not equal 2 weeks later. Okay. So an example is, if your lady, maybe even a girl that you're seeing said that she loved you, right? It only means what she means at that current time. Don't try to be like, oh, well, she told me she loved me 2 weeks ago, because you have to understand women's emotions are like the weather. It changes all the time. And you can't let that bother you. You're supposed to be that more grounded, masculine guy that she could come and run to whenever she feels unsafe, because you have to understand that feminine energy is chaotic. It's kind of crazy sometimes. They think about the smallest little problem and how big it could be depending on how you navigate through that problem. Something small could easily be big into like this something huge. But our job as a guy is to shrink those problems. Don't allow her to escalate. Don't let it escalate. You'd be like, dude, hold the fuck up. What are you talking about? Or, you know, another very attractive thing a guy could do for a woman is like, don't worry, I got it. I could take care of it. Like maybe it's something that's huge in her mind. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. You know, she's playing all these stories in her head. You're like, it's okay. I'll take care of it. I know how to do it. Why? Because you're competent. You've done it before. And that's how you display more confidence. And so that's very attractive. Okay. So how you make her feel and what you're going to make, how you're going to make you feel a certain way being around you. Okay. Yeah. So you got to be yourself. I know it sounds very cliche, but sometimes you have to understand that yourself right now is not good enough. It is not good enough. So you got to work on that. Your true self right now might suck, and that's okay. Your true self right now might suck, but there's hope. And the hope is in this channel. And if you see this, you're watching this right now, make sure you hit like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Because Mitchell has one last slide to talk about, okay, which is what things that is outside of your control. And for the people that's here right now, hit 1 so I know you're still here and you're still watching, and you're picking up what I'm putting down. Things that are outside your control. All right. Now, these are things that you don't know. You don't know this, and you don't need to know this. Okay. You don't need to know this. It's outside your control. I mean, it might be helpful information, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks, Crystal. So these are things that's outside of your control. Things that are outside of your control is you don't know who is in her life right now. Maybe y'all just met. Y'all went on one date. It was hot and heavy. Maybe y'all kissed. Y'all made out. Maybe even, you know, kind of bump uglies or something. You don't know. And there's hot and cold behaviors. You had a good time. That's cool. You don't know what is happening in her life because you're still trying to get to know her. There's a vetting process. Where is she currently at emotionally? Where is she currently at emotionally? Is there another man in her life? You don't know that. Maybe she just got out of a long-term relationship. Well, you don't know that, and it's not your job to worry about that. Now, like I said, if you do know this information, and she did, you know, she did tell you, it's helpful information. And, you know, a high-value man would be like, well, you know, it seems like you have a lot going on in your mind right now. So why don't you let me know when you're ready, and you could come, you know, reach back out, and then, you know, we could set up another date or something like that. But I want you to be ready. That's a guy that's more valuable, because the lower class of guys will easily just pursue and be like, nah, you know what? I'll make her like me. I'll prove to her. It's like, you know, you don't have anything to prove to anybody. All you have to do is she ready? Because you're vetting out whether or not she's a good prospect for you. Too many guys are willing to go in with the eyes closed, blindfolded, and then the first thing, you know, he hears is like, oh my God, or she got a sweet voice or whatever it is, or, you know, like you don't know anything about her, and you're like, you're looking through rose-colored glasses, like she could do no wrong. And, you know, the whole idea of this whole, you know, this whole halo effect, is looking through her through rose-colored glasses, is that you want to remain looking through these glasses and not lose that tint, and make sure that she is who she says she'd be. And so that's why it takes time. Good things takes time. And that is how more of a higher value guy could spot out whether or not she is going to be worthy of your time. All right. So you don't know where she's at emotionally. You don't know if there's another man. Maybe she just got out of a long-term relationship, you don't know if the ex is still in the picture. Now, if a guy is still in the picture and she might have got, like, you don't know whether or not he dumped her. Maybe she cheated on him and he found out, whatever, right? Whatever. And if things like that happen and the guy's still in the picture, if there's another guy in the picture and she just met you and you've been on a few dates, maybe y'all even hooked up, you have to understand that time with her being spent with that guy, he has a lot more emotional leverage over you because they just spent more time together. She feels more safe with him. Your job is to allow her to come to you when she's ready. You want a woman that's ready. You don't want a woman that's not ready to be in a relationship with you, because that's going to cause a lot more chaos in your life. And if your own philosophy is like, damn, I want an easygoing, easy to get along with type of woman in my life, and I don't want none of this drama, you're willing to take a break and be like, look, just call me when you're ready and let me know when you're ready. And if she perceives you as a catch, she's going to be like, damn, if I don't hop on this, because not a lot of guys would tell me, like, call me when you're ready. If I don't hop on this, I'm going to lose him to another girl. Because quality men don't last very long in a marketplace. And so another thing is that's outside of your control is that there's going to be more choices for a woman than there is for a man. That is, unless you're a man of value that, like I said, doesn't come very often. And I'm not just talking about a guy that could provide resources, though that is very important. I'm talking about a man, like I said, he's emotionally grounded. Where she feels safe and comfortable, where she could turn to make her feel more safe. Think about it like this. It's like, think about a man or a guy or dad. Think about a dad, and he has a little daughter, and some boy made fun of her in school and made her cry, and she comes to him and be like, daddy, she's crying, she has tears coming out, maybe a little snot, and she's like, hey dad, like, this boy made fun of me, blah blah blah, he said I'm ugly or whatever. It'd be like, and you make her feel safe and make her feel comfortable. What's up, Tracy? Make her feel safe, make her feel comfortable, where she comes to you and you're the rock in her ocean, and you make her feel better by being around your presence. What's up, Lilia? You want to make her feel safe around your presence. And if you could allow that, if you could do that for her, she's going to grow up. And if you're this true masculine guy, she's going to grow up thinking like, damn, like I need a man that's kind of like my dad. And that is why I stress so much about women that comes from broken homes that did not do anything to work on themselves. Those are usually, not always, but those are usually the type of woman you want to stay away from. All right. Those with like daddy issues and things like that. It's very important to understand that when she's working on herself, right? Yeah. Like you don't want someone, and it's not your job to fix them neither. You want someone that's kind of like your equal. Like, damn, I don't need, you also need to convey. It also conveys this. It also conveys that you're not desperate to be in a relationship. You want someone that's great, that's easygoing, that's not going to cause a lot of drama. Because look, 2025, all right, every single year, it always starts out with something crazy going, like something like this. I mean, like 5 years ago, it was COVID, right? Like everything shut down. Like it's never something that's great. But if you could keep your circle small and it's within you two, guess what? It's going to be a much better place for you two. And then you're both there to help and support and raise each other up. And like, to me, that's a beautiful relationship. And so, like I said, it's like, you don't need to be in a rush. And that's usually where like a higher quality guy, if they're in the market, they don't last very long out there. And so unless he decides like, hey, you know what, I don't want to be committed, like that's all up to him, right? Everybody, different stroke for different folks. But what I am saying is like, high quality guys, they take their time to understand. It's like, well, what does she have to offer me? Because I know why I've been working on myself and things like that. Like, what does she have? And it's not supposed to sound condescending. It's not supposed to be like, well, what do you bring to the table? Like, no, it's nothing like that. It's like, well, I take care of myself. Like, what do you do? And it's like, there's this vetting process. Okay, is she healthy in the mind? If she's not, is she crazy? Yeah, women have to take their time, because generally speaking, they're a lot, quote unquote, physically weaker than most men, and the last thing you ever want is to get another guy that acts neurotic, right? That's crazy, jealous, envious, and you're not even together yet. You just maybe went on a few dates. He was pretty charming in the beginning. Y'all hooked up, and then now all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I changed my mind. I kind of want to go back to my ex because he wants to come back in the picture, and he's like, no, you can't leave. It's like, I'm laughing now, but it could get kind of serious. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, women have to play it safe, and that's why a lot of women, they ghost a lot of guys, and I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them. And so how do you work around it? And that's how you kind of work around it. It's by not being needy, by allowing her to come to you. You just focusing on having a good time, and if you have more good times with her, she's going to want to be with you. She's not going to want to lose you to any other guy. Okay? And so things are outside of your control. I talked about, you don't know where she's in her life, where she's at emotionally. You don't know whether or not an ex is still in the picture, right? If she has a kid and the ex decides to want to be in the picture, you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay. You can't be jealous. You can't be like, damn, y'all talk now. It's like, no, you want that kid to have a good relationship with their dad, because it's gonna help you. But a lot of guys get insecure because of that, because they don't feel safe. They'd be like, oh, I might lose her. It's like, if she decides that one day she want to pick up her bag and leave you, it means that you're not the man that she thinks you were. Or it could be a character flaw in her too. You don't know that. The only thing that you can do is focus on yourself and building yourself up as a guy. So outside of your control, right? Losing interest could be because she has way more options. That's another possibility. It doesn't mean that you can't be the next woman's most irresistible option. And if she once showed you a lot of high interest and then she just ghosted you, it is important to understand, like, well, where did I go wrong? So how do you do this? You can either A, figure it out on your own, or two, you can hire a coach. And usually also, if she's hot and heavy with you 1 second and then the next second she becomes cold and distant, you could spend your whole entire weekend thinking about what may or may not happen. But to me, that's a waste of time. What it really shows is a character flaw in her. It's like, well, there could be something that's going on in her. Maybe something you did. We don't know that. Ultimately, what you have to understand is that you don't take that personal. Even for women could get ghosted too, all right? And if you get ghosted, it shows a lot about who they are or who they say they are as a person. So when a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time, especially when they show you. So if they're gonna ghost you, let them. It's fine. It's okay. There's plenty of other great people out there. Okay. And I want you guys to kind of focus on thinking about a more positive aspect, and stop thinking about, oh, there's no more good people out there. There's plenty of great people. You might not be a great person because you truly don't believe that you deserve a great person in your life. So the idea is to have this, damn, there's my time isn't up yet, but I'm still gonna constantly work on myself. Like, you want to work on that. Now, that being said, that is the end of the show. All right. I didn't get to finish my summary, so I want to apologize for that. But I do want to talk about the 4 slides that I went over. The first one was why. So why do women do that? Why do women ghost you after showing high interest? And there's things on how to prevent it, things that you can control and things that are outside of your control. But ultimately, I want you guys, whatever you could gather from this, I want you to understand that if you did ever get ghosted, don't take it too personal. You could think about, damn, what are certain things that I could have done differently to help prevent it? But I want you to focus on the things that you can control rather than the things that is outside of your control. Even though it is helpful information to have it, things that are outside of your control, no one's entitled to have that information. What you are entitled is your own happiness and how you could work towards a better future for yourself by being a good leader as a man. So if you're a guy and you're watching this and you're a masculine dude, or you want to be more of a masculine dude, but you know, you kind of got led astray a little bit, you know, there's hope. There's hope that you could work on becoming a better person. And right here, you watching this channel, you're gonna be a much better person by watching this. All right, that being said, I really do appreciate you guys watching my show all the time. I'll catch you guys on, well, let me see, hold on, let me see, do I have, oh no, yeah, so I won't be on for another few more weeks. I might be gone for a few weeks, so I'll probably, the next time I'm back is going to be in May, probably in May, unless I decide to make some quick last minute. I catch you guys in about May 3rd, so have a good weekend. Yes, Tracy, thank you, appreciate you. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on May 3rd. All right, so stay up, stay positive, and you know, I hope you guys have a great weekend. All right, peace.